We're plugging in his old 335 here through an old V4. It's a 70s Ampeg V4. Now you have V4 with the reverb, so that's the guitar version.
Okay.
And this is like a time warp that we're doing right now, because years ago, Johnny came in my shop. What was it, 95?
I reckon 96.
Okay.
95 or 96.
So you were touring with Easy Action, right?
Yeah. And I was hanging out here with Howard, with the Cosmic Commander.
Right.
And I needed an amp.
Yeah.
And he said, if you need an amp, you've got to go and see Chris.
All right.
Right.
And the show was that night too, so
something like that. Yeah, if it wasn't that night, it was later that week.
Okay, all right, yeah.
And you had one of these.
Yeah.
In the shop, but not this shop. In the old shop. Yeah.
You're right. So our old shop was many blocks away from here, maybe about I don't know, 10 blocks away in Old City, right down the street from the Liberty Bell. So it's crazy that was like rock and roll central, like dirty neighborhood, right down the street from the Liberty Bell, and it was a different town back then. It's very different now.
I just remember when Howard was walking me down the street, I remembered seeing some old Customs. Customs, yeah? Like John Fogerty.
Yeah, Sparkle Custom.
I remember seeing them in the window, and I was like, okay, well, this has got to, because I was new to Philadelphia then.
Yeah, right.
But I wasn't new to playing guitar or knowing what a good amp was. But
yeah.
When I seen the Customs in our window, I knew he was taking me to the right place.
Yeah. Okay, good. So now that's more of the story here. So you buy this.
Yeah. Well, not this, but one like this.
One like it, right. V4 head, 412 cabinet too, right? The whole deal. And we're like, hey, we sold an amp today. Johnny Casino, that's great. He's playing at the Khyber. That's cool. And then, so you play at the Khyber, and I missed it. I guess maybe even I had a gig or something that night. I would have been there probably. And then, so what happens? You're at the gig.
Well, as you do when you're youthful and young and dumb or something like that, I got a little bit carried away, and I thought it was a good idea to run straight at the amp like a running back would run at the, try to run through the defensive lineman or something like that without getting too sport or jockish or something like that. And I had not, because at the Khyber at the time they had curtains hanging, and I had either forgotten there was a big window there or didn't know, and the amp went straight through the window into the street, into Second Street.
It goes through the window and lands on the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk, and as it went out, well, I didn't know this at the time, but as it went out, it had severed the power lead. It was like a straight cut, like the glass just cut it straight. But obviously the show comes to an end, right? When the amplifier goes through the window and there's glass going everywhere. I put the guitar down and sort of sheepishly walk outside to pick up the amp, expecting to get yelled at, the bar owner and everyone else. And as I walk outside, there's a girl sort of sitting down beside the amp crying. And I thought, fuck, she's walking past and this amp has like hit her as it's come through the window.
Right.
And she's crying, and I asked her if she's all right, and she was sort of saying, he's an arsehole, and I'm like, yeah, I know, I am an arsehole for doing this, you know what I mean? And then I realized she was talking about some boy she'd had a fight with a boyfriend.
Oh.
And then I was like, okay, I'm not the arsehole, and the amp hasn't hit her, she's just sitting beside it. So I picked it up, dashed back inside the Khyber. And the beautiful part to the story is we packed our equipment up and expecting to get chased out of there. And whoever was working the bar that night came up and said, okay, this is how much money you made tonight, but we have to take this much out to replace the window, so here's what's left over, thanks for coming and playing. It was like,
you still get paid.
Right, I still got paid, he didn't yell at me, and it was like it had happened before, and it was like a procedure. It was like, right, this is how much you should have got, but we have to replace the window. And seriously, before we had time to even put the equipment in the van or something like that, they had boarded up the window, like they'd done it before.
Yeah. I had never seen it done, but it must happen.
It must have. For them to react that fast and just so pro about it,
right,
and not be yelling and screaming, and you never come back here again. You're finished in this town, Johnny.
That's what I would expect. Well, the Khyber Pass was a legendary spot. It
yes.
had gigs, had everybody played there. I mean, obviously Nirvana had played Dobbs, but they could have just easily played the Khyber Pass because that's where everyone was playing.
Yeah.
And they were used to it. And that place was a fire trap. I'm surprised no one died. just from it burning down. But I just remember hearing that someone told me to throw it out the window. I was like, that guy bought a V4 from me and threw it out the window the next day. That was punk rock. That's the most punk rock they ever heard.
Well,
it's legendary. Now you hear more of the story. It's still a little more. It's a little more believable now, but. The legend was exciting, I tell you.
Well, we don't want to spoil the legend too much.
Maybe you should go back to now we got the real thing. Either way, it's a great story, and just imagining a head like this going through the window is just so freaking awesome. And it worked because you used it again.
Yep.
Got it fixed.
We got it fixed and it ran again until it disappeared somewhere in Philadelphia 5 or 10 years ago.
Oh my God. Well, that's cool. So there you go. Now, this is Johnny Casino's guitar that he's selling. This is a 1972 Gibson ES335 for sale, and it has the Gibson logos on the covers here, which I think are original. It's got the cool custom made on it, and this is a upgraded part here. This was added later, and changed tuners, which is they're newer. But everything else is original. Now, there's a story to that. Real quickly, this belonged to who? Maybe?
This guitar was. I bought it maybe 15 or 16 years ago in Australia. And the guy who owned it before me only owned it for about 10 years, and he bought it in New York City off the guitar roadie or tour manager of Johnny Guitar Watson. And he claimed it was his guitar. He died in '96, I think, in Japan while he was on tour.
Oh, wow.
And so a bunch of his stuff was just left to his guitar guy and roadies and stuff like that. But the guy I bought it from bought it in New York in '96 or '97, I think he bought it in '97.
Well, there could be a picture out there, so that's a cool story. And
I've seen lots of pictures with him playing something that looks like this, except it's got a trapeze here.
Well, it would have at one point. Yeah, that's probably how it was sold.
Could have been his.
Yeah.
Could be yours.
It could be
right. Whoever's watching,
it could be yours. That guitar. Now that's going up for $5,000, and with a case, not original case, but a hard shell case, and it plays like a dream. That's an affordable price for a 72. I think that's awesome. V4 also for sale, $1,400 for the head and cabinet, very clean, just worked on. We were playing to this X-Band door just to break it up a little bit, and these are like T95. These are great sounding. So there you go.
Awesome.
That's a little TV show spot at the Pinto Guitars.
All right.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.